made a trip to the workshop today. I spent about an hour going through all my switches. I'll show you what I picked up. What's the matter, Sammy? You feel left out, huh? You feel left out? I give you a lot of attention. Are you ready for a boring video? Most of my videos are kind of on the boring side. This tray was up in the shop, and I just went through all my switches that I had in the workshop, and I got a big box about this size and about 3 times deeper than this, loaded with switches, but none of those switches I needed for the project. So let's start out with the basics first. I found another soldering iron, empty oil squirter that I can use around the shed here. I don't know what this came off of, but it could be used on Dorkel. All kinds of fuses, and that's not the fuses I had. These are just extras. The fuses I have are in storage, but this will give me a good start here. And some terminal strips, of which I probably only need one. Some heat shrink tubing, and miscellaneous tools, tweezers, and so forth. Alright, let's get down to the switches that we got here. And of course we got fuse holders, another pencil soldering iron because I couldn't find the one I have. It's in the shed somewhere. Some extra solder, another Unger pencil iron. Alright, let's get to the switches themselves. I told you it's going to be a boring video here. These are some new switches. These are like, I guess, car door switches or something. These switches here were never used. I bought extra switches when I was building my console in my 1970 Ford Econoline, the customized one. If you look back on one of the old videos, you'll see it. And these are some of the switches that I've used here. These are double pole single throw. Here's another one of them car button things. Another fuse holder. Here's another one of them door button alarm things that you'd put for a car, but they push in a little hard, so they won't be good for the safety turn on the Dorkel head. We're going to need a micro switch for that. Here is a regular toggle. These are all things I pulled out of equipment many years ago. Here's a lighted 12-volt switch used in my console. Actually, these were never in the console. These were extra switches I had bought at the time. And I even got one of these momentary switches. Oh, we lost a wire on that one. I don't know if that switch is going to be any good. That's momentary on, as long as you hold it. That would be perfect for Dorkel's mouth, because you hold it down and then that'll hold, the solenoid will stay energized. You let go, the mouth will close. We're going to have to see what we can do about that there, because that would definitely work good. Here is a double pole, double throw, not center off. Here is a double pole, double throw, center off. Never used. I found 2 of them. And that's all I need. One for the eyes, because you want to turn the eyes one way or the other. You want to shut them off. So that's what we use those for. I even got a pull chain. I'm not going to use that, but I may use it on a light or something sometime. I picked up a bunch of stuff Here's another double pole single throw, basically a on-off switch. And here is a on-off. That may or may not be used. Here is another one, never used, just a basic on-off switch. Here is one that I got on a bracket. I always save the brackets because they come in handy. Aluminum bracket, regular typical on-off toggle. And I got tiny little buttons on my experimental days. These little Radio Shack things, they don't carry much current. I used to have a car horn I made up out of a transistor, and it would give a raspberry sound, you know, when you're driving along. It wasn't real loud, but I used to go downtown, and when people were walking on the sidewalk, I just pushed a button, it'd go like that. That was my trickster days. Here's another switch that I type of switch I used to use in my console. Here's another one. Here's another center off, double pole, double throw. We got quite a bit here. I just picked up some stuff. Here's some more solder. I can't believe the price of solder now in Home Depot. I was looking at it. Outrageous. But no rheostats. They're all in storage. Here's another. Here is a push button. Here I can solder. This could work on Dorkel's mouth. Because this is, all I need is I got a nut on it, okay. They're hard to find, these nuts, to get the right threads to start. So you got to make sure that you got the nuts with these things. Or if the switch ever goes bad, I always take the nuts off and use them on another switch. And they're not usually interchangeable. They are to some extent. But this would work very well on the mouth. I had some 1/4-inch plugs, mono and stereo. Some small screwdrivers, they always come in handy. A real tiny, real small flat blade, Exolite. Some extra soldering iron elements for these here soldering irons. These are an ICO security alarm. They're normally open and energized, they close, but they don't push in that easily. They're good for doors is what they're made for, but it won't really be applicable for Dorkel. Now I also located a 12-volt relay. That may come in handy. Brand new, never used. These are things that I bought many years ago, back in the 70s. Stuff never got used. This is a little tiny speaker enclosure. It's pretty neat. I probably won't use it on Dorkel, but I just figured I'd bring it along. And here is a rotary switch. I don't know why that got in there. I guess it was in here. I don't need it. Here's another toggle. So I definitely got a lot of switches. So there's not going to be a problem with switches for Dorkel. That's for sure. So, and of course I got some slide switches. Again, never used. These are things that I got surplus, ordered through the mail years ago. I did find, well, here's a little rocker switch. This is the type that also I used to use in my console. That console had everything in it. It had a stereo graphic equalizer. It had a built-in alarm system for every door. It had the internal lights for the van in the back where you slept. It had atmosphere lights. I had regular reading lights, and all these were controlled from the front using all these type switches. Here's a micro switch here. I have to get my magnifying glass out to see if this is normally closed or normally open. It looks to me like it's using both terminals, so it could be both. So I may be okay on switches now. And a transistor got in there somehow. All my transistors are gone. I sold a whole shebang of them. I even had a CK722 in there at one time. One of my first ones I got. Here's a no, this is an electret condenser mic that came out of a Sony CF550 boombox that went bad on me many years ago. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of interesting things. And I definitely got enough fuses now. There's bound to be a 2 amp fuse in there somewhere. And some more solder. My regular roll of solder, my Kester, is all in storage, but I mean, I don't need a lot of solder out here. Just occasionally I'm doing the work like that. So, anyways, I wanted to show you the stuff that I got. So we're going to be pretty good, I think, on switches. We just got to get that mouth solenoid straightened out when that comes in. Valley Northeast. That's up in Dedham, Massachusetts, up that way. When I worked for the vending company, we used to deal with them, bringing their machines up in the games and stuff like that. I did a little bit of the work on them, but not much. I don't know too much about the circuit boards and stuff, but we used to work on pinball machines and stuff and try to get those working. Anyways, I think that's about it. There's some little rotary switch. So, anyways, I did want to show you that. No, not a very good day today. So we're not doing any work on any projects today. We'll wait till things cool down, but I did take advantage of bringing this stuff in from the workshop. And I'll tell you, I do have an AC up there, but I didn't want to run it because the birds built a nest inside many years ago, and it's all clogged up in there, and I don't want to run the thing and risk chopping the birds up and everything in there. That thing has been up there since 1968. So it's hot up there today. And I was sweating like a pig. So I did want to get some. I got a lot more shrink tubing up there. I got smaller pieces, shorter ones and small diameter ones, and I also got some very long ones. These are items that will probably end up going in the junk. Now I still got a box full of switches, but most of the switches that I've got up there now are for old televisions and stuff like that. I have like cheetah cord receptacles, never used. I don't know if they're polarized or not. I think they are. One prong is bigger than the other. It's the male one that goes in the chassis. I've got a lot of stuff that's pertaining to TV, in addition to a drawer about this size and deeper, loaded with screws, nuts, bolts, all from television stuff, the 1/4 inch self-tapping screws and all those things. Plenty of screws. Not that I need any more things in this shed. I'll show you something. See that bag right there? That brown bag? I'm pointing at right there. Well, that's stuff I brought over here about 3 years ago that came from the shop. All miscellaneous things. I don't even recall what was in it now. That's as far as it got. There's just no room here. It's just unreal. Unreal. Another thing I want to show you is this little Ryobi. I paid on sale, it was 30 bucks. It's a 4-volt, and it works pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of torque. It's not much, but it's a handy little driver. Doesn't, like I say, have a lot of torque to it. The problem is, from the day I bought it, this little light here, when you put it on charge, it does not come on. So I thought it was defective, and I opened it up. I had to buy a special bit. It cost me almost $3. It's called a Safety Torx. It's got the little, well, you may not be able to see that because I'm not on macro here. It's got the little pin in the middle of it sticking up, so you can't use a regular Torx on it. Anyways, I bought that. I took that off yesterday, and it's a circuit board with it looks like a voltage regulator. These batteries are 4 volt in here, but this thing's putting out 3.8 something volts, so it's not putting out enough to charge. You're supposed to put out, when you're charging a battery, it's supposed to put out a little more than what the battery is, so the charge will go into the battery. But I put the meter on the battery and it reads 4.11 volts exactly after I got it in this thing. So if it's charging, I don't know how it can be when it's not putting out 4 volts. So it was that way from day one. Now I've got a temperature, infrared temperature sensor by Ryobi also. I bought 3 or 4 years ago. It uses the same damn battery. But its charger lights up and charges just fine. I have to probably take this battery and put it in that charger to do it, but I don't know whether I'd have to change the chip in there to get it to put more voltage out, or what, or even the wall wart itself might not be putting out enough. I don't know. These things are sealed and you have to bust them up. It isn't worth screwing around with. I can just as easily charge the battery on the other Ryobi that I have, which is the thermometer that I have. So anyways, that's the story there. So like I say, I brought over those soldering irons because like I say, I couldn't find the other one. It's, for all I know, it could be in that bag. I had a pencil iron, an Unger, so that would make the third or fourth Unger that I have. I have those I showed you. And I don't do that much soldering, but it's nice to have it. But you can see that there's so much stuff here that it's why I end up either buying new, and I almost was going to buy another soldering iron, but I said no way. There's got to be one up there in the workshop because there's a lot of stuff up there, miscellaneous small items such as these, and lots of other things up there still. Can't bring any more in here. I mean, we're filled to the roof right now. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching.